One of the easiest ways web say you fit they add your own attributes now classes and IDs. You don't hear me they talk class IDs. So what to be class and what to be IDs? This now still attributes, but now more especially where if you use target the elements. Now the most common use case where we they use with classes and IDs. You go if you use the target the elements where you want change or where you want work with. So what I mean by target and what I mean by target the elements. So make we first see example, then I go quickly explain what I they do for here. So if you look for here now, make we look this our image, make them smaller. If we look this our text now, this paragraph for here, you see say we only give them the title, say this now title attribute. We go can't give them now, say we want give them class. So we go say class. So we go say class. Now this class, if you name them anything where you want name them. So if you say na text, okay, so we say na dash text, even though na pidgin English, no worry, I could just call them say na text. We're going to need to target or select these elements with this text name. So how we go take down? What we want even take can do? Well, one thing what we fit do now to change the style of this text element. Then this text where they see here, this small text here, we fit change the style. So make we see how we fit change the style. So the first thing you go do, you go come here for inside this head tag. Now here we go come write the thing we want. We want the style tag where they inside the head tag. So the style tag it just be like the title tag, but for styles. Ne? Now style with the column. So now to add style, so you go say style, you go say style, and then we go just close them. All right. So you can see the opening style and closing tag. So this style tag. Now here we go add all our style for here. How we want to take select or make the browser know say we want to select only this text where they here. We don't want to change any other thing, but we only just want to affect only this text where they here. So the way we go do them, as we don't give this class attributes of na text to this paragraph, now then we go come say we want you to select only the class of na text. So make we see how it works. So for inside this style here, make I give space for now. So for inside this style here, for inside this style tag where they here, this style tags where they here, we'll come say we want add our style here. But first, we're going to need to select what we want to do. So we want select what we want select the class name. Then at this na text. Now we want select. So you go just go here. We go say dot na dash text. And then you go give space and then you go give opening curly bracket and closing curly bracket. Then this na CSS syntax. This thing why they write so. We don't go small CSS, but not too stress. I go explain them as time goes on. I go be very comfortable with this little thing where they do here, this small syntax change. So you go come say, okay, now text, you want to write the text where go there. So you go come say this na text, you go press, you want make this na text, make it color be, make we change the color to green first for now. So you go say color, and then we go say semicolon, then we go say we want to make it be green. Okay? Now, as na green, if we press save, because you say the text color don't change to green. If we say, okay, we want to make it day bigger, we want to make them big, so we go say font size. Remember the font size? So we say we want to make the font size be, make we say 25 pixels. When we press save, you see say the text, it don't day bigger now. So now, any element where we add this na text to, it go resemble this button here. If you don't believe me, make we try for other elements for here. Make we say, make I first come out these styles first. Okay. I go come out this style. So now this our H1. It just day normal. You don't get any attributes inside them. So if I can't add attributes for here now, I can say space class, and then I will give the class of na space or na dash text. And then we go press save Control S. You go see say now this button, this text don't they resemble this text here. Make we try them again for this Google button here to say na text. So make we try. Make we say space for inside the opening brace. Remember for inside the opening tag here, for inside the starting here, now here. So we go come add the style here. We can add them from the bottom. So we can say for here, say we want class of na text. Press save. And now you just say even our Google button, it behave just like any of them. Even if it's small before, just by putting just this class, it don't turn to the same. So if you put class as many as you want, anywhere you want, if you put more classes, so make we say, okay, we want add more classes for here. So make we say this class, we want to create a new class. So make we say na center, okay? So make we say na class of center or text center rather. Make I stop today's speech in English. So we go say text dash center. So now this text center now, we will come say this class of text center, we will come say we want make all the text for here, make it text align. We want make all the text move to the center. So you go say text align, and then you go assign them to the center here. Then you press save. So now if you press save, what did they happen? Nothing changed for our code now. So why nothing change? That's because we never assign this text center to any of our elements here. So if we say we want to make this text now, where don't be green, where resemble all these other ones, we get this class of now text. Make we say we want to change them to text center. So we want to make only the text, make only anything we get this class of text center, make it move to the center, make the text move to the center of the page, no matter what. So make we go. Make we add them to this our H1 for here. Make we see whether it will work. So we'll go here. So now for inside here, still inside this brace, inside this semicolon where they here, still inside down. Just still inside this same class. You can write them inside the same quotes. But you go give space first. If you want to add another class name, so you go say space. And then you go add the class name. So which class we define? We define this class for here, this class of text center, né? But you don't go put these dots. These dots now just to select, say, now waiting you want select for inside, now the kind class where you want select. These dots mean say for CSS or for style, say you want select class. But if you use hash, now ID, I will show now just in a minute, just wait. So for here, we go add our second class of text dash center. If I add them and I press save, this text, I believe, supposed to move to the center. So make we try and press save. And you see say the text move come the center. So waiting we go use this thing do now. This means say we fit dey add style easily to all our code. We fit dey easily dey change the style. We no go need to dey do them one by one like we did it before, where we go dey write the code for the style inside the inline or inside the element. It go be better. Make we dey give them class names so that we go just dey use class names. They add more styling to our elements. We no go need to dey add the style by ourselves every time, and it go make our life better as developers. So make we see wetin IDs be, and make we try use the ID. So make we say we want use ID, but why we go use this ID? So make we say we want use the ID for the image. So for inside this image, we go come say we want add another attribute. The attribute where we want add now ID. So you go press enter. So we can say, okay, for inside here, we want to give them ID. ID of what? We want to give them ID of, let's say, my image. Or we can say my dash image. Make I talk like this. So my image, we can just give this ID of my image here, then at this one. So as we give this image, my image here, as we give out my image, which are bikes, right? Then at this first one, we'll come go say, okay, now when we get this my image, we want target only my image. So make we go here. Make we say, okay, we want target my image. So we go press down. Then to select an ID, you go need use hash. So make we use hash sign, and then you go write the name of the ID. So what will be that ID again? What we just use now? The ID now my dash image. Then at this one here, you'll see my dash image. Make I just copy them. So you can say hash my dash image, and then inside here, now here you go put your styles for only the image. So you can say inside this my image, you can put your curly brace, open, closing, then go can style your image for here. So if you say, okay, now you want make the image make it round small. So if you say border radius, so make it round border dash radius, and we could just say border radius now 30 pixels, for example. If I press save, the image go come round for all this edge here. It go come round for the edges here. So make we try. Go here. You just say the image now there round. So make we see what's going to happen if we even use this my image everywhere also like class. So make we add them for the second image. I can say, okay, for inside the second image, give us another attribute. The attribute one will add now ID equals to my image. We press save, and you see say the second image too also be like that. So what will be the difference? Why you get the two of them, and what will be the difference between using the class name or using the ID? Well, in terms of is how I want to talk about the power way class they work, or the specificity. Let me see about it. In terms of the power way class gets, the power is strong, but it's not too strong reach the level of this ID. So because this ID they very strong, too good make you they use them all the time for everything. But if you want make class, make you they write your class for everywhere, make you they get the different classes for inside one element, now that time class go they shine. But if you want select one element at a time alone, now that time you go need to they use the ID. No go they use ID all everywhere for everything, no, because if you use ID, you go select everything where carry that ID. But if you they use class, you go even though you go fit select everything, you go fit still override them easier with classes. Now another thing where even they overtake the class, where they overtake the ID self. Now if you go they write your style for here, so make we see waiting go happen if I can write that style tag, if I style attribute, if I add them for here. So if I say okay, I want to put style attribute, so I go say style attribute, then I go say I want make the text align. Now for example, make it go to the left, and I say I want make the text go left, or make I change them to right, so I go say right. So I go say I want make the text go to the right for here. If I press save, you go see say the thing still override this inline style where I write for here. You override this one where supposed happen for here, even though we get the same class of text center, it still no dey work. So go good for you to dey write your style like this or your code like this, because if you change them, you go to change them everywhere. But not to worry, I don't dey too fast forward and not to fear. I go explain every time, and you too as time go dey go on, you go to see why you need to do them like this. So why classes they important, how you go to use them, why what you call them, why IDs they important, and how you go to use them, and how you're not supposed to use them. Because if you use them too much, you feel shoot yourself for foot. So if you want to style your element as best practice, as thing where we say everybody they do, just they use style, they style your element most times. Now the best thing. Now when you want on they target the elements with like JavaScript and all those things. Now that time I go say make you they use ID. Now so most people they do them. Then before you go even start to they write your styles for inside here, you need to think twice, because if you write down once for here, you go to change and you make one mistake, you go need to change the mistake for everywhere where you write this kind of code. You go to change, you go to fix the mistake, everywhere. Whereas if you just give it a class, all you need to do is just change the style for here. And if you don't change the style for here, you go change everywhere based on the class name or the ID name, even self where you give them. So always keep that in mind. Make we quickly clean this code, man. Okay, so make I go here into this hello world. For inside this hello world, make we clean this one. Make we see how ID go work too. So make we say ID. Let me say ID of my image. Make we change border radius. Make we say color red. So color, even if na image, we call them, like I said, if you call them anything, so make we say color na red, for example. And we could press save. So you see say this ID now don't even override the class where we write for here. You see, so this class of na text is supposed to be color green for here, ne? But because say we don't give them ID, this same ID of even image, even though the image just gets red and it get border radius, even though this text no need border radius. In fact, before I confuse you, make I just quickly erase this text color. Make I just quickly arrange them better. So I'll say ID of text red, and we could just put here. So I could just come out this color for here, and I will put them here. So for inside here, instead of saying my image, I could just say ID of text dash red. So as we don't make a class of text red now, you go see say it go override even this class where they here. So if I say okay, any class, any text we get class of na text, it go to show green. But because I don't add this ID now, the ID now we get power pass, it get position, it get level pass even this class. That's why it can't override them. Even if I can't come the top for here, if I say okay, now in there the top of the code and I press save, it go still override this code for here because it gets this ID, because it get this ID where they override the class of this text for here. So if I come wipe and say okay, remove this text, it not go even change. You see, it still be the same. Make I make the text big and say 35. So you go straight understand. So you see say the text no come big again like this one. This text here, red text, no come big like this green text. Then because they collect that style, that class of na text again. So if we say we want the class of na text, na dash text, and give space, press save, you can see say this class of na text is still they behave like the other one. They behave as they behave like this one. It's still big like them, but is still they collect this red text where they collect from this ID of text red. So always make sure say you know when you they use your ID or when you they use your class. No say if you they use class, just they use them to they style your element and you go make your life much easier. ID still they very useful, but just make you know they fall around, make you just they use ID for your JavaScript. Now the best advice I give you like this. Sometimes you use them for styling CSS, but you know too good because you go to override the style the class of the HTML. You go to override the class. So the ID go to carry power past the class. And if you go put class or you go put style for that ID, it go come chance the style of the class. The ID go come chance the style of the element where you don't give class. So not to make trouble for yourself. So what we they call this kind CSS block where we they do, and what we they call the other CSS block where we they do. Then the one where we say we go write style, we go write style for inside here, we go give a style attribute. So this one where we they give style attribute, then this one style, and then this style we could just say color black. So this style black now inline style. If you add more styles for here, but now inline style that they call this one. If you say you want to make it be black, make you move here, make you do there, make you jump, make you turn, make you do everything. If you do them for here as inline style. But the problem I already explained, you go to change them all the time. For anywhere where you don't change the style, you go to change them all the time. If one small thing change or break, you go to struggle to change everywhere in that same style. So it's not the best thing to do in 2022. So what you gonna need do? Well, if you try the second method, which now the internal style, that means say the style they live inside here, inside this HTML document, inside the whole page for here. Now here the style they live for inside here, inside the style. So we call it internal style. Now internal style no bad, it they work well if you see use your class and all that. But what if you can't get many internal styles? If you can't get many, wait like say you get on like 300, that means say this site, this page where they look this code, it go long well. So instead of make you just the recode way too long, I go advise make you use the third method. The third method now external styles. Now that one we go link our HTML to our external files, and that our external styles or external CSS. Now that time the thing go come load for our site even before the page load. It go come load. When it come load all our style and everything, now that time the thing go come show. But if we use inline still, it go still override that external style, that class, that all those things where we they do. So always be careful when you want to use internal style and when you want to use inline style, or you want to use internal style, or you want to use external style. So my advice be say for 2022, just they use external style whenever you can. And if you must, only if you must, then you can use the inline style. And also if you want, you can use internal style if you feel comfortable with that. So for the next video, we will start to create our first external CSS style and style sheet, and then we go clean this thing up. We go clean this site up, or this page. This is our small demo page. We go clean them up. Then we'll see how we feel make it look better, how we feel arrange and what we feel do style and make it look much nicer. So I will see you now for the CSS section of the video. Thank you.